All right, so hopefully you can hear me. Yes, all right, I can see the captions. All right. Um, I was watching a video. Actually, it was like a sort of preview based on Elunia. For those who know Elunia, misspelled that Elun with the thingy, round thingy, N-A. Um, and she was talking about how she channeled um 3 councils or something like that. Anyways, it was part of a whole thing for membership, but I thought I'd kind of extend on it and see what the charts say, because was what she got was regarding technology, farming, and advancements in that technology, and also money was brought up. So I thought, oh, that's kind of interesting because I'm into I'm not I haven't done full, I guess you could say, full on permaculture methods where preparing the soil and all that stuff, because I know I'm called to do that and I want to have my own permaculture, basically farm or land, like where it's very self-replicating, self-sustaining. And I love that idea. It's just, and it's also very natural. It takes on the, you know, the way the planet is, the way it's all supposed to be natural and organic. Sorry, I'm actually kind of like freezing right now. I'm fasting today and I'm very receptive to energies. I'm kind of like, eh. But anyways, so welcome to those who are new to my channel. My name is Jose. I'm what I like to coin a micro astrologer. So I work with, um, asteroids mainly, dwarf planets and centaurs, and a bunch of different things. So I look into the details of my readings and I cheat through, you say I cheat through the asteroids and a bunch of things directly to give me the answers right away, because my research on these asteroids are so detailed that they're pretty much all of them are pretty much downloaded. They're pre-downloaded, so I'm getting them as I'm getting them, and instead of interpreting what I usually would get in a regular chart, because I'd have to go through the signs, the houses, the aspects from the planets, even the dwads, that'll take a little longer, and ruling planets. Just for those who know astrology, do you know what I'm talking about? But anyways, the point of today's so that's what I do. So the point of today's video is the theme of today's video is technology, farming technology, and advancement of it in 2030, and I think beyond. So I looked at the chart for the year 2030. I just started with January 1st, because this makes sense, right? That's the Julian calendar. Is it Julian Gregorian calendar? Yeah. So what I've seen is like there's a lot of things. One of the things that's popping out for me right now is the how there's action that might be taken by people. Um, well, actually, right now this is what's happening. So action is being taken right now. I'm seeing here. Um, and hard work is being put into it. But sometimes there can be sort of questions about it, like people relating to each other, and hard work is probably put into it, but maybe it doesn't seem fruitful. So I want to see if there's any link to the other places by 2030. The one I'm looking right now is dated for February 23, 2026. So right now people are probably looking towards that. And they're putting action into farming methods that are more natural. I can see that here. It's happening naturally with people, but in small pockets of the world. And I'm also seeing some sort of long lasting effect to that. Again, though, more private circles or private groups, collectives. Not huge, it's not everywhere in the world yet. Um, and so there's a spread towards that. Right? There might be a lot of challenges with it, with the diversity there, and there might be ups and downs, especially when it comes to all this, because it's kind of like humanity's kind of like working towards its freedom. But again, it can be cycles. It can go in through cycles. So I'm going to show you what I see here. So that's one thing. There's another thing, by the way. So before I go to the chart, there's another thing that's flowing naturally with the. You can see the resurrection of knowledge or information regarding all this stuff. Um, and there's a really huge transformation at the core level, for sure, core level, but also kind of sometimes there's a bit of explosiveness behind it. Um, and again, there's kind of doubts to the connection to personal connection, the individual connection to how we relate with the earth, and probably maybe it's taking time to actually get there. But 2030 is the transits. I'm looking into the actual chart, the event chart itself. I'll show you what it looks like. It's gonna be kind of a doozy. Show you what I mean. Okay, here we go. So we have here the asteroids. I see here the big one right here. Is this one right here? Oh, I want it to be thicker. I want it to be this one. Okay. All right. So right here. Oh, I don't know what this is called. Oh, that shouldn't have anything there. Okay. So there's this right here. There's a square between Feronia. She was the Roman goddess of forests and fires, forest fires, nature. Um, it's trying to Proserpina and Sisyphus. Proserpina was the Roman equivalent of Persephone. She was taken to the underworld out of, you know, against her will. Proserpina is a little lighter than that, so but she has a lot to do also with farming. Sisyphus is that kind of hard work we put into it. She's the one that goes. He was the one who had to push the boulder because he was punished by the gods for his arrogance and his basically misuse of power. Here we have also the asteroid right here. I don't know if you can see that. It's Athanasia. She's all. This is the um, ancient Greek term for what's the word? Immortality. So she's about long-lasting things, like pretty much go on forever. This could also mean technological advancement towards that stuff. So it could also be like life um, things that are ideas that are going to be tied to things that preserve human life, or rather also prolong human life. So this is tied to that. But I believe here the governments are involved in this one because it's in Leo. We're here with this one, with the work that we're being put in right now, it's in Libra. So it's more with people, contracts that we get into, agreements, relationship with each other, people we might not get along with as well. So we call enemies, not really enemies. And as a Verona here is tied to people. So people are making efforts to do that, which connected to Mars, and Mars signifies not only you know, sort of initiative and all that stuff, but it also energy that we put into something. So it makes sense why people would have that push right now. With Prometheus and Pan series, we have a stellium here, Chiron. There's something to do with medicine. It's tied to medicine. So new medicine, new ways of farming, new ways of diversifying. That's Pan and Prometheus. New ideas that are more really like evolutionary, if that makes sense, or revolutionary. Okay, that's the one I see here. But I also see a grand trine, a grand air trine right here between Ovius, Volcano, uh, Pluto, and Osiris. So this is the thing I'm talking about, the resurrection, sort of like the re-education. You can say re-education, restructuring of things, breaking apart and putting it back together. Assembly, assembly, disassembly, reassembly. Okay, Volcano is the Roman equivalent of Hephaestus. So he was about forge. He was the god of forge. So restructuring things, but he's also about volcanoes. That kind of explains maybe from a perspective of humanity experiencing this. There's a restructuring there at a core level of. He's also, if he's tied to Hephaestus, I don't know much about volcano, but there's something to do with assistance. Okay. So, anyways, I wanted to go straight into what the transits are saying for this event chart. Okay, let's see here. Frigga is here, so she's tied to farming as well. So that kind of makes sense. Let's see what the big ones are. Let's see. There's so many asteroids linked to farming. Nehelenia is right here. So there's this focus right here. And she actually mentioned that there was, is that? Hold on 1 second there. Is that Jupiter in 21 degrees? I can't really see. 1 second here. Let me double check definition. Tira. Yeah, Jupiter would be conjunct right here. So you probably see here, I don't know if you can see that, Sirius. The moment when I was watching the video, she was talking about how the Sirius or the Syrians, not in Middle East, but Syrians like the Sirius from Sirius, the fixed star Sirius. They are part of this process. This part of the expansion of changing things, of family related to oceans as well, related to expansions of things. That makes total sense. So by about 4 years from now, it seems that there will be a push towards that expansion as well. Jupiter will be in conjunct with the Helenia. That means that there will be a return to that structure of, I believe, what was the Helenia? She was a Celtic goddess, actually technically Celtic, but actually in Dutch history. So it's a very interesting one. She's tied to, what is it? Spring. What was this? Emergence. So urgence, emergence. Okay. She's tied to grains. She's kind of like Ceres, cycles as well. So she's kind of like Ceres as well. Yeah. So bread. She's tied to ships and trading. Yeah. So navigation, traveling, journeys, sailing. Okay, now I remember. So that shows me that there's something to do with expansion in waters tied to all this. But because it's in right here to Umbaba, right here, what's happening for me is like there's this sort of expansion of um I guess you can say an urge to protect, an urge to have keep the Navy seas waters safe. By 2030, I think there will be some sort of like protection when it comes to the waters, and you'll be more connected to resistance to the Syrians as well. So thank you. I'm getting goosebumps for saying that. What else am I seeing here? 19 degrees right here, trying to technically Venus and also Mercury, but Ferroni will be part of this one as well. So Ferroni will be restructuring. Ferroni is tied to forest fires, but Ferroni is not just forest fires because she's about transformations, right? So autonomy, altruism. So kind of going back to nurture nature, pasture relocation. So things might be included here, relocations, um, being a pastor or guardians of these kind of things. So there might be people tied to this whole process of irrigation systems, collecting systems, or rain collecting systems, probably part of that as well. Canals, aqueducts, okay. The reforestation is going to be part of this as well. So it'll be more of a balance, I would say. I'm very looking forward to this actually. It's very good news. Orchards, vegetable farms, hydropods, governments will be possibly included in this one, which totally makes sense with the placements of Athanasia in Leo. That's government. But the sun is actually right here in Pisces, so it's actually conjunct North Node. I would say Ceres is also conjunct this one right here. So Ceres is reintroducing new cycles. Um, Series is also about how the government, how epigenetics are tied to this one. So people will be tied, there will be sort of a connection to the changes in the environment to how we change ourselves. Um, let me double check if there's anything. No, I don't think so. I want to see if, okay, so Jupiter here is opposite of Yarlo and Juno. Juno's tied to, what did I notice here? Juno's tied to the money part, or is it advancement? Yeah, to money. So basically, money funding probably is tied to all this process. Yarlo, check what Yarlo is about. He was a he was a uh, Slavic god when it comes to grace, gratitude, endurance, revitalization, again, regeneration. So agriculturalism here, he's tied to the birth and the dawn of agriculturalism, the settlement societies. So in this case, kind of going back into this process, but maybe right now there's some sort of things that we have to do. We have to be loyal to that whole process of being going back to the natural state of things. Um, I don't see conjuncts to that one. Oh, we have Prometheus Thalia in 2030, Sisyphus and Radagast here. So there will be work put in, but there might be challenges with that, with maybe certain things like when it comes to security, when it comes to like sources, resources. But they'll be kind of like, I feel like it'd be a more optimistic. Talia is tied to laughter. She's actually tied to joy. Okay. So I wanted to put that in there. Because it's in Capricorn, I feel like there's a bit of seriousness to the whole process, but at the same time, kind of make for a very serious restructuring of things. Right? There's actually a T square here from Juno to this structure right here. So this is happening right now, but I want to see if there's anything going into that. So Prometheus is showing me that there's a sort of, again, that revolutionary process that will happen in 2030, but more on the physical side of things, matter. Money will be part of this as well. There's a reason why there's Juno there as well. That totally makes sense. Talia will be part of the whole bit of upliftment to the whole process as well. Sisyphus will be making it harder, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily hard. It just means that maybe there's another way around it, right? So let's take a look at what I see here in Sisyphus. Okay, so there might be manipulation, megalomania, okay, escapism, validation, mistreatment of things, but if that's the case, we might have to go through other options. I'm seeing here, so Sisyphus is also he wanted to live forever. So he has a lot to do with the fountain of youth, transhumanism, DNA alternation, um, uh, what's it called? That cryonics. Okay, so anything that will prolong life. That totally makes sense. Why I saw here Athanasia right here. He's tied to that. It's tied to Sisyphus right here. So that totally makes sense what I'm seeing here. I decided to do a lot of like asteroids because I wanted to see where they were going. But the big ones are the ones I mentioned already. Um, Loki, there might be some sort of angel with me guidance as well, and kind of uncertainty when it comes to right now. It's what's happening between that and Osiris, the shifting that's happening. But the moon will be part of that as well, including Athanasia. So that means that there will be some sort of, I would say, a release, some sort of like new ideas, new directions, restarting in Sagittarius. So that means that there will be more in what do you call this, download, you could say download intuitive approaches related to foreign investments as well, foreign things. I wouldn't say just call it simply that. Okay. But there might be some integration. Integration will have to take place because Osiris always is about replacements, right? So things have to fall apart. New knowledge will have to come in, but in order for that to happen, we would have to actually, or rather, new information. Okay, so that makes sense, right? There would be support there. Haumea is a big one because Haumea is also about regeneration, but trusting your inner self. It's a little bit more about trusting your inner worth and knowing that you are already worthy. Retrograde here shows us only some people are realizing that right now, especially in Scorpio. There's a lot of stuff deep seated trauma from the past, being able to trust that. The shadow of Scorpio is found in Taurus. Even if you were to look at Haumea, it's actually opposite of Chiron will be there retrograde, focusing that whole process of how do we find that? What does this all mean? What does this whole event thing that's happening 2030 in that year, especially? Chiron is going to get us to reintegrate everything again in terms of our self-worth. What does money mean for us again? Like money is in like maybe financial things, maybe might be even tied to currency, stuff like that. I heard she was talking about there's a cryptocurrency that might tied to that as well. So yeah, so there's a lot of factors involved in this process. So farming advancements would be included here as well. I can see that already right away, especially with Athanasius right here. I said um, this placement right here, this rectangular, looks like a cake, something like that. I don't know. I think that's about it. There's these other charts that I was going to go through, but that's not what that is. That's for something else. Okay, so I just needed to do that chart. But thank you for watching. I think that's about it. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye.